warriors. Confronting them, like challenging the winter itself. The snow that blinds you gives them strength. And the ice belongs to them. Prepare yourself for a cold wind blows.
And he'll have some words for Crimsix. Forcing the issue on Mikey's inside of the bait, and that's going to be 5 in a row. On the fetch, punch.
There's 2, there's 3.
Welcome back to the Call of Duty League. This is week 2, day number 1. We're having a blast today. OpTic just beat Seattle Surge 3-1, but it was an absolute battle. Now, for the last match of the day, we have the Boston Breach versus the Minnesota Røkkr. And this one's going to be a banger. This is the match when I looked at the schedule today, aLLeY, where I was like, that's a question mark. Both teams are solid at Search and Destroy. Boston Breach starting to get better at Hardpoint. But I didn't know who to predict. I ended up going with Boston Breach because of their Hardpoint improvement. But Boston control game has not been great as of late.
They've been struggling, but it's right on the cusp. They've been right on the edge of taking those control rounds, and their Search and Destroys has been looking a lot better like we saw from them earlier in the season up against a team like Røkkr, who their only really good map mode is Search and Destroy.
Yeah, you know, for Boston, I'm really excited to continue to watch Capsidal grow. He's been frying as of late. I mean, on the team, he's #1 overall KD. And S&D, he's been frying as well. But let's get into the game field keys to victory. It's a battle of the best in Search and Destroy. Boston is first in round win percentage. Minnesota is second. Both these teams, I mean, they've just been phenomenal in Search and Destroy. It's what got them through a majority of their series. And also post-plant situationals, critical. Røkkr is second in neutral retakes and second in post-plant wins. So they have their work cut out for them. We've seen what Røkkr is able to do. Boston going to have to react properly in this series. Then figure out control woes. 1-8 in last 9 control maps. Only win is versus Paris. But to aLLeY's point, they have had some very, very close control maps. So they are getting better. They've learned that they can play Tuscan. They're going to round 5. They end up losing Tuscan. Before they had to play Gavutsu, which they're 1-5 on. So I'm excited for this team. On the opposite side, though, it's a Minnesota Røkkr squad that still has not figured out Hardpoint. Now, they did win 1 in the last series versus Paris, but still, it didn't look that strong.
They've figured out their aggression and to be more confident in their play calls, but it's like it's just missing a little something extra. It's just they're missing what pushes them into that top 6 conversation, that pushes them into those top teams. Sure, they can force a longer series, but they have yet to really get a dominant win.
Yeah, and you know, it could come down to them still getting comfortable in their new roles. They switched Priestahh to an SMG, attached to an AR, but attached has been great in that role, right? And once they did set into that series, they played great throughout the rest of it. I mean, they won that Berlin Hardpoint 250 to 143. But aLLeY, what are the game field keys to victory for Minnesota Røkkr?
When it comes to Minnesota Røkkr, their S&D first blood conversion's got to be locked down. Both teams are tied for first in 4v3 win percentage, 83% overall. Again, these are 2 big S&D focused teams going head to head, and Priestahh continue to get comfortable in new role. He has a 1.09 KD versus Paris. I think the SMG role fits him so well. He's so much more of an aggressive player, and it kind of lets him off of that AR leash and have to find more success on D in control, and winning 63% of defensive rounds, which is last overall in the league. Again, it's respawn the Minnesota Røkkr is struggling with, and it's been a lot in the slaying category when it comes to the squad.
Yep, I'm excited for this Røkkr team. We were looking at the maps, and we were like, okay, so they're 0-5 on Tuscan Hardpoint. Well, that's game 4.
That's game 4.
And map 1 is Berlin Hardpoint, which it's both these teams' best Hardpoint maps. So Røkkr really need to start off 1-0 in this series. Like, that has to be the respawn that they steal. But let's get into pick'ems. aLLeY, For me, I'm personally going to go with the Boston Breach. I think their hard points just gotten so much better. Capsidal seems so comfortable. I think at the Major 1, them having the little run that they had gave them enough experience to where now they're just playing well. They have so much teamwork. Nero's been stepping up. So I'm going to go Boston Breach in a 3-2 fashion. Who are you taking?
I think this is Minnesota Røkkr stuck at a wall where Boston Breach is just continuing to go on the up, especially when it's Minnesota Røkkr who has stuck with the same roster for the past 2 years. And Boston Breach, this is a young gun, new squad that has just been continuously getting better. So I'm definitely going with Boston with you.
Sounds good. Well, let's bring in our casters, Bryce and Ton, and see what they have to say. What's going on, fellas? I got to ask you guys, let's start with Ton. Who are you picking in this matchup?
I'm going with the Boston Breach, to be honest with you. I think that's what I went with in my pick'ems. You know, the vetoes, the picks and bans for me, I have kind of thrown a question into the air, though. I am curious because you look at all the maps and you can make arguments for certain teams in certain maps apart from the control. And I think I completely agree with what you said at the beginning of the segment there, was that this one did stand out today as being the game that really could go either way. I am going to go with the Breach. I think they'll just be that little bit too much. I think they'll close it out 3-1, but I think map 1 is pretty crucial for them because I think maps 2 and 3 could go to Minnesota. So I don't know. It's really tough.
No, I mean, it can go either way, right? Like, this is the series that we're talking about. We just don't know how consistent Boston Breach can be at this point. But I see you're where I'm at, where we tend to lean towards them because of recency. But Bryce, who are you picking in this matchup?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me because it's kind of boring leaning towards Breach as well, realistically. Like, it's kind of the obvious pick in here. Boston Breach have shown some sort of greatness in the terms of, like, they're getting into the upper echelon. I don't think they're quite there yet. I think Capsidal's a freak. They've picked up a phenom, a future phenom. He has been dragging Boston higher and higher every time I've seen him. The Minnesota Røkkr, every time I watch them, I'm like, yeah, this is the middle of the pack team, but they just seem to have this issue beating anybody halfway good. Like, they can do it, but I just don't expect them to an awful lot of the time. And coming against Breach, I feel like Breach are a more complete team at the moment. They're a team, you are correct, that is on the rise. Minnesota Røkkr aren't a bad team, but I don't think they're a great team right at the moment. And I don't know what's missing for them because they have these flashes of brilliance, right? And and then it just falls apart.
Well said, fellas. Take it away and enjoy this series. I hope it goes all the way to Game 5 because these teams, Search and Destroy, absolutely nasty.
Well, we've already had one of those today. Let's find out if we do get a second one. But it is no kind of easier way to put it than these two teams kind of balance on a knife edge for this one. While we are currently leaning Breach, the Minnesota Røkkr are not a team to be trifled with, and they could very easily beat Boston here as well. Tom, we were talking about it before we come into the game, right? Some of the maps you felt like 2 and 3 are so important for this game.
Yeah, I think they're huge. You look at maps 2 and 3, you would probably just about lean towards Minnesota Røkkr, specifically, of course, in that controls being a huge sticking point for the Boston Breach. If they can fix that, they're looking like a real solid team. Look, they got their top 6 placement when they did come to the event as well, but a lot of people would look at the games that they did play. They didn't necessarily play up against the best opposition, but you have to just beat everybody who's in front of you nonetheless. That top 6 placement, though, they want to be there more often than not. They will have to fix their control for that to happen, but nonetheless, of course, they have looked pretty decent. But maps 2 and 3 specifically, I think those are where things are going to be won and lost. I think map number 1 is kind of important as well, but just depending on how the rest of it goes. I think if you are a Minnesota fan, you would look at that one and say, right, okay, yeah, we need to steal a respawn. This is the one potentially to do it. But then if I'm a Boston fan, I look at maps 2 and 3 and get a little bit more concerned about those two as well for yourself. So if you're Boston, you want to try and get map number 1. You want to try and win every single map. Let's be honest. But if you're looking at the outlay of the series, if you're Boston, you kind of want to try and avoid those S&Ds, that map number 5 potentially. But if you're Minnesota Røkkr, you don't mind it going to that map number 5.
You certainly don't. Obviously, Boston Breach have been proving an awful lot of people wrong coming in with this team, by the way. Obviously, new to the CDL this year. And I want to talk about Capsidal. Like, I was speaking, I've spoken about Capsidal a million times. Huge question marks over this player coming into the CDL, right? It's a very high pressure situation for him. On the opposite side of it, attach the veteran. We've seen him come through. I remember when he was the new player coming in, right? But for me, Capsidal, obviously, you can speak, the KD speaks for itself, a 1.13. He has come into the CDL and he is not buckled under pressure. He is not flaked out. He has not had really a bad game. He is fast, he is furious, and he is the X factor for Boston Breach every single time, in my opinion.
100%. You know, we talked to Zed when we were at the event, obviously in Dallas, and we've been talking to him about Cap, and we sort of said, like, you know, like, I know we've kind of went over this conversation in general about Cap and where he came from. We didn't have many placements, and it just came down to Dens. Said he played with him, and they said, Røkkr, let's give him a try. A couple other people said this guy's on the come up. Not even a top like 20 placement in challengers, and this guy gets thrown into the deep end. But I think when we spoke to Zeds, for Boston, their whole thing was, we don't want to just build a team to be that mid-tier. We want to try and build a team that can go on to win events, and they have put a lot of trust in guys like Capsidal and Nero to come in and step up to the level that they believe they can find. And they just keep getting better. Let's be honest. They look good at the start. A couple of little shaky moments here and there on some of their game modes, in particular, of course, hardpoint and control. Their S&D has always looked solid, but things just seem to be escalating that little bit more. They're kind of having the same kind of upkeep as Florida are having, but they've started maybe from a little bit of a lower point. So let's wait and see if that progression is going to continue. But Capsidal is the catalyst for this team. If he pops off in the way that we know he can, they're a really dangerous prospect for a lot of teams in this league.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I look forward to seeing where exactly that skill setting of Boston Breach is, of course. Going up against them, not a team to be sniffed at either, though, of course. Priestahh, MajorManiak, Attach, and Standy. And this team, it drives me insane. It genuinely drives me insane, because I feel like every single series I watch with Røkkr, they have the opportunity to win it. Like, every time I match them up against any other team, I'm sitting there going, Røkkr's a good team. They're a middle of the pack team. They could probably beat somebody really, really good, but their results, everything that comes out of them, it's such a mixed bag that I still don't know how I actually feel about this team and its completion.
Yeah, Minnesota mediocre is kind of the vibes I'm getting at the moment. I mean, I know it's harsh, but it's just middle of the road. They're middle of the road right now, and I want to see more. Look, they have time in terms of switching it up. They've switched it up. They put Attach on the AR. I'm not going to like read too much into that last series that they did have. They played decent, but I want to give them time with Attach in that role. So give them a chance. Yes, okay. Like I think mediocre is maybe fair. They are middle of the pack. It just means kind of meh. It's M's. That was maybe harsh. That was maybe. But hopefully we will be jumping in the game number one very, very shortly. We're just having a quick reset. But yeah, I think, you know, give them time with Attach on that AR, and maybe things can start sort of step up a little bit. But I think, you know, the whole general consensus is that, yeah, they'll probably beat teams around them. Are they going to beat anybody in the top 6 though, or top 5? Probably not. That's kind of the moment where we're at here with the Røkkr, and that Attach change towards the AR. I'd like to see it prove me wrong and then get to that stage where they can start beating these teams. But right now, it just looks kind of clean cut, exactly where they are, middle of the pack.
Yeah, okay. I can say, and this game is big for that reason, right? This is a very big game. We talk about, you know, the battle between the Titans at the top, and we hype up the lower teams. You know, can they get a win in this thing? Realistically, the battle for mid is also a very important battle. Bearing in mind the seeding going into Major 2 and where you will start in that seeding. These two teams are fighting to try and break that barrier. They're trying to make sure not only that they get into the winners bracket side of it, but also for moving forward. They want to be recognized as a better team. And these two matching up at this point really is a great benchmark to see where they stand in the CDL at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where we're at, isn't it? But let's have a look at exactly where they are at this moment in time. And well, yeah, I mean, there you go. Both teams sitting at 8th and 6th respectively. Not much in it in the CDL points, and you really do want to be in that area where you can get into that winners bracket. Of course, that's where you want to be. You really don't want to start in the losers bracket. The worst possible place to start is in that losers bracket. It just immediately means you have a very long run. You're coming in against teams who are inevitably going to be very, very strong at every single point. Do not make your weekend any more difficult than it needs to be.
No, again, like I said, this CDL points, it just shows everything that's kind of on the line here, realistically. Like, the jump is not massive between 4th and 10th, essentially. Like, it's not a huge leap for any of these teams to go up or down during our qualifier weeks, and it's why it's so important. Every single game they go into, I know some people are like, oh, you know, the major's the most important thing. Well, this is the starting step for the major. This is not just some game. This is the starting step of your journey. You get good in this, you get into the better seed, you have a better opportunity to place higher. Yes, every team wants to go into a major, win every game, be the champions, and walk off into the sunset. Well, newsflash, it is also about placements. It's about how good you are. Prize money dictates that, points dictate that, and we've got to see every single team fight for every single inch they can get.
Absolutely. And Boston Breach, I mean, they were a team, look, you're sort of seeing online, they're progressively getting better, and then sometimes, you know, the bracket can fall your way. And as I said, they just have to beat everybody in front of them. That's what you have to do. But you have to put yourself in the best position possible to do that. Can they, though, have a bit of a better online period here than they did in the previous major? So far, so good, and let's see if they can keep it up. And then we're looking at this. Well, to be honest, I think both teams will be looking at this series and thinking, right, this is a very good opportunity to get ourselves on the board with a good win here. And that's what makes it such an interesting series. I am leaning 3-1, obviously, over towards Boston Bridge, but I do believe if we go that map number 5, the Røkkr will close it out in 5. But yeah, I don't know if Breach will let them get there. That's the only thing.
Well, I mean, I know the analysts were talking about keys to victory and everything that, you know, these two teams need to do to win coming through it. And one of the biggest takeaways has got to be just how good both these two teams were on the keys to victory. Essentially all about the S&D, right? Like, we're talking about post-plant percentages for these teams. You know, we're really kind of dialing down on the minute details. And the reason we're doing that is because when you look at these two teams going head-to-head, the stats speak for themselves, right? 4v3 win percentage, they're tied for first. The neutral retake, second and first. Round win percentage, second and first. Records 9-4, both positive records. S&D teams coming into this, they say S&D wins championships. At the moment, these two teams are looking very, very good. Obviously, I would probably take OpTic in their current form in S&D at the moment, but these two teams are outrageous.
Yeah, very good S&D teams. They kind of have been from the rep. I think Breach were kind of counting on that at the beginning of the game, as were the Røkkr. And for the Breach, I think their S&D maybe dropped slightly to a certain degree. That those records were a lot better and a lot more in their favor. I know it's obviously first, but they were looking so good. And now things have dropped maybe ever so slightly. But at the same time, the rest of their game modes have gradually got better outside of control, which they suck at right now. But they need to change that pretty quickly. But nonetheless, their search and destroy for both these two teams should make a very, very good game when we get to game number 2. And of course, if we do get to game number 5. But for the Røkkr, it's about stealing those respawns. They'll feel confident in the search and destroys. Recently, they've been absolutely lights out in that game mode. But can they make it count here in the big one? We're talking about what we think maps should go over towards certain teams and which team is better. They're very, very evenly matched across the board. But I think, you know, with recency kind of form, you are leaning towards the Breach. I think most people probably are. But can Røkkr upset the odds here? Is that changeover to attach on the AR going to make a big difference here? And I'm just curious though, because especially when it comes down to the Boston Breach, and I feel like I'm going through a few different points in this sentence.
How are you going through it, Ton, personally?
It's just so many things to talk about, man. It's such an interesting series, but in the sense that when I look at Boston Breach, for me, their strength lies in their SMGs, which is not a very hard thing to come up with because of how good Cap has been recently. And then you look at the Røkkr, they've kind of just put Priestahh on that SMG after really not quite performing in that AR role, and that's why we've obviously seen Attach move into that position, because he has excelled in that in the past, and he's always looked like a good AR. Is Priestahh going to be able to kind of keep up with the side of things that Capsidal is going to bring? Is kind of one of my queries around Minnesota in this series.
It's an interesting point, right? Because essentially you don't want to play around a player like Capsidal if you're the enemy team. No. You play your own range and you try and get everything done, but one of the things that I was also looking at as we were kind of going through the teams and the player shots and everything is kind of how both teams are feeling. And it's always an interesting kind of vibe for it, you know. You get things like Ultra and they're always pretty calm and everything. And then you try and kind of evaluate how these players are feeling going into it. Realistically, at this point, both teams should be feeling pretty good. They know it's a good matchup. That's the key thing coming into it. It's a bit different if you're facing like an OpTic at this stage. You're like, well, we know we're facing one of the top teams in the league. But coming into this game, obviously, we have spoke about how the first map can really dictate the momentum moving forward. You get that first win under your belt, you get more confident. You know already that you have had a very good time. Your gunny feels hot, and you're moving forward with speed on it as well. By the way, again, everything about this game and everything we spoke about, I know there's a little bit of delay, we're getting to it. Don't worry, the game will start in just a few seconds. Every single statistic tells us it's going to be a close game, which means for us it'll probably be a 3-0, but it should be a close game.
That's how it sometimes does rock, doesn't it? We looked at game number 1, we're like, this will be done in about 20 minutes, and there we were, map number 5. So this one, yeah, it should be a really close one. Who knows if it'll be done in 3, but here we go. Over into Berlin, and I'm very, very curious to how the ARs are going to do on both these two teams. Big moment for Attach to try and bring the fire as he opens up things with an SMG here, just trying to get things rolling for his team. Over towards P1 currently. Only Methodz left alive for the Breach, doing well. Does defend it fantastically. Good start for the Boston Breach. They get the point, and Methodz finds 2.
Well, that's about the biggest 2 beats you're going to have here on the P1. That's going to give them a ton of time. And Boston, while they did have the favourable spawns for it, have certainly capitalised on that as well. One last push by the look of it for Minnesota Røkkr, just not wanting to give up any of the time. Eventually, though, they will be cleaned out. And Methodz is moving, but will be taken down by Attach as this rotation does come in. They've got to keep an eye, though. You can already see Nero trying to make a move through Ticket.
Capsidal staying alive in and around this top 3 area. Very, very important to try and lock down. That's exactly where the pushes are going to be coming from, though. The stun comes in. The movement not going to quite get away. Good work by Priestahh. Finds 2 on these opening breaks, but look at the pushes coming in here from the breach. A little bit of a pinch is set up. Attached up. Important position. Shuts down the attack from the back. He's got the whole of mid-map locked down.
Standy coming down to have a little fight inside there now. Sees Methodz on the outside. Decides not to go for the full challenge as his team gets evaporated. And Standy in the corner, and he's throwing shots left, right, and center. Not really. Managing to get an awful lot of kills for it. Eventually gets taken down by Methodz. And now MajorManiak with the pre-aim, as it will be Boston Breach that spawn out quite a distance. Fortunately, though, that distance will be P3.
Yeah, in a good spot to try and lock this one in. They're going to have maybe another little stab at it over towards P2 now. Well, these 2 teams very evenly matched as things open up. Just good holds all around. But the spawn's there for the Boston Breach. They have to make sure that they keep a hold of them with 7 seconds to go. Don't want to overextend that. You can see Røkkr still spawning towards the back and didn't really get much of that final 20 seconds. So good work by the Breach, but good gunfight's going to be going on here on the outside of docks. It's where they need to come in here for the Røkkr if they want to try and break this hill.
Currently holding it down at the moment. Capsidal just saying, hey, I will take all comers.
Wait a second.
Come to top fire. Nobody getting even remotely close.
Why is he in top fire on an SMG? I mean, it worked, but why is he there with that? And why is he finding 3 pieces? Fantastic work from Capsidal, and it's a good hold for the Boston Breach. 30 seconds remaining here, and Røkkr have really not gotten that close.
Haven't, however, Priestahh manages to get in for just a split second, and now Methodz is going to have to hold the pressure while his teammates spawn up. Nobody from Røkkr actually running in straight away, choosing to come through fire, and Capsidal's actually fighting on the other side of this map here for the rotation.
You know, I really like that positioning from him. He obviously picked up an auto, isn't able to find those rotational kills, but picked up an auto, was sitting in and around P5, getting the shots over towards the double doors. Really good work from Cap. Isn't able to find that rotational kill, but that's what he was setting up for, and I like that forward-thinking play coming out from the rookie, but Boston Breach commanding lead.
This rotation, though, you can already see Boston Breach are quite a distance off the pace here. They haven't really been able to get a toehold or any sort of map control near this. Now, usually when you get in and around train, it can be very, very mixy for both these 2 teams. Realistically, Røkkr doing a great job at the moment just to keep that pressure off. Eventually, though, Capsidal gets one. One comes around the back. MajorManiak says no thank you. And Cap is going to try and push there with Methodz to get them off this time. Røkkr got some, but I don't know how much more they're going to get.
Oh, Standy, if you could have found that on the Methodz, it would have been great. They would have had a pinch opportunity set up here with Minnesota Røkkr, but from the front comes everybody else. Really good work by Capsidal, just holding down the backside of the spawns and doing it with the MP40 once again. So far, so good for him. A 12 and 6 to kick things off, and overall, it's a 9 killing spree on the side of Boston Breach. They've locked that in, and they seem to just be breaking very, very easily here, Bryce.
Yeah, they do. Well, let's find out what's going on then in the Minnesota Røkkr camp with a listen-in.
I don't see the guy on old.
Looking now.
Going old. I'm looking over you. I'm looking over you. I'm looking over you.
Yo, 2v1, guys. I'm staying alive.
Yo, warehouse behind me. He's gonna run P5. Gonna run P5. Watch your right, yeah. Watch your close right.
So have your mid.
Close
One's
him.
gonna be stone. One's gonna be
I
stone.
spawn fire.
P1
Could be under me library too.
One's gonna be P1. Yeah, P1. He pushed up stone. Push up stone.
Where'd he go?
He's holding stone steps. Stay down from step 7.
One more stone.
Nice.
Zero.
Yeah,
Spawning stone.
Behind us. He's spawn killing me. He's weak. Close on you on the tank. He's absolutely on the tank.
The tank.
Tank. P1 like. Zinni.
Go for Stone TJ. Stone TJ.
Alright, let's
He ran on stone steps. He ran on stone steps. Try and get right.
Second story. I'm
Help me
second
library. Help me library.
library. Must slide to top 3.
Take the Nero hurt on time. Nero hurt on time. Backside.
Nero dead. I'm
One
on
gate street, one shot street tank.
One's gonna be P1
Trying to play for street.
Outer box.
Capsidal left. Capsidal out of box hurt.
Alright.
I'm trying to street dead. Hallway to hill.
Capsidal out of box.
Okay, there's 2 of them.
Hallway to hill. One shot. Zin.
I wanna kill him on hill.
Try and kill Zin.
Capsidal
still by ticket.
I think he knows
That's a big rotation here. This is a big rotation.
City,
I'm
one
deep
shot
left.
on low P2.
For Røkkr, they managed to get some points back onto the board, but we are heading into our second set of rotations onto P1. Let's find out how the Boston Breach are doing with another listen-in.
There's one shot.
He's dead.
I have a pitch right now.
Try to butt down.
I'm flying in. Back still. He's out. Look, take a look. Back alley, west window. Keep laying down. Keep laying down.
No, he hit me.
He's office and office. Standy's in office right now.
Back alley, one shot. Low ticket, though.
Okay, low ticket. I don't see him. I don't see him low ticket.
He's here, alley. That's it.
Nice.
Dating time.
Back left. One shot.
I failed my nade.
Back left. He's
Good.
back left.
One shot.
Back left.
This is good.
I'm here, Zen.
Close right.
Nice. I'm rotating.
Last one dub.
Yeah, I'm rotating.
Yeah, play deep right. Teach, help him right.
Helping you right.
Get ready to be deep right. Get over in
He
new time.
just crossed street. One's top third.
Yeah. Try and get this guy top.
Top third.
Yeah, try about
Top three. I'm just playing those.
Top third left. They can make. They don't want deep. Top three.
He's still top three.
Priestahh second fire.
Cut.
He's still top three.
Priestahh weak truck.
No, Major hitting on our side door. No,
Hey,
yeah,
our side,
no, the other
our
side.
They're all fighting right. They're all fighting right now.
Major upstairs.
Pause it. Shoot again.
Okay. He's fire tank.
All fighting.
He's fire tank.
Yep.
Yep. He's crossing. He's weak on the step. Or fucking.
P1 death.
Okay. I'm pushing on this one. Push on this guy. Pushing on him.
Keep up.
Oh, holy fast comms, Batman. That is some spitting fire from the Boston Breach. And they will eventually lose that as they go into the next set of rotations, but they have got themselves a healthy lead here.
No, they're chaotic, don't get me wrong. But as long as it's working out, you can kind of hear the man that is the one directing the team and who you would expect to direct this team in Methodz. 16-6 out of him, having a good game, locking down the rotations for this team. When they do get these rotations, they are finding a lot of points for it. Big push here though from Attach.
They're gonna know he's here, surely. Look at this. Our Methodz actually gonna call it in. They've pulled this perfectly. Attach to catch, and he's gonna take that one to the face. Eventually, though, it will be Røkkr who managed to get somebody inside. MajorManiak backs this one up. Methodz does eventually get two, and this is a hard hold here for Breach.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but when they are pushing from windows, you can just set yourself up and get ready and waiting for it. It's going to be the push through fire that Røkkr are going to have to try and do. But now they're stuck towards the back and everybody kind of lining up. You see the push that comes on through. MajorManiak will find two, though. But Methodz on a 5-3, make it a 6. Really good work from the vet. 21-6 out of him. Can he make it 7 in a row? Methodz is just stacking up the dive bombs once again. Fantastic work from Methodz. And look at the rotation that's coming in 13 seconds. Nearly every single point goes over towards the breach, and they have Røkkr locked exactly where they want them.
Just dancing around. It's a stick and move here. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee for Methodz. Not the most engaged from the team before that huge flurry of kills come through, but now a nice trick for it. The pistol for the 10. Methodz is refusing to give Røkkr an inch here in this game, and the Capsidal will steal that one as well. Eventually he does go down, but they're already at train. They are already ready for this one, and I don't even know if Minnesota are going to get there in time.
The back spawns might give them a glimmer of hope, but it is Zinni for the winnie for Boston Breach. My goodness me, what an AR performance out of him. And I honestly, I was leaning on the SMGs of Boston Breach to get it done in the mix, get in and amongst it in the hill. But it's about the AR player from Boston Breach that locks in these rotations, locking in those kills, and locking in those spawns, and locking in game number 1 for the Breach. 1-0 here against Røkkr, and that was arguably very comfortable.
Yeah, that was dominating completely. Like, they just managed to go back to back in that hill and just didn't move. And I was going to talk a lot about Capsidal during this break. I thought they had a very, very good game out of it. So much pressure put on the Røkkr. And the Methodz kind of stole the show.
Yeah, 25-7 out of him is a really, really good game. 21 non-traded kills coming out of somebody using an auto and not an MP40 is quite impressive. Very well played from Methodz. And again, it's not just so much about the kills that he finds, it's about the rotations coming in. He's going to be that guy who is locking them in for the most part. Yes, your SMGs can get kind of going away, root ban, etc., but Methodz locking those in are very, very important, and he was so influential over towards that P3 hill both times for the Boston Breach, and ultimately it's a 124-point game, that, by the way. That is not just comfortable, it's quite dominant from the Boston Breach.
And you can see here in our highlights, we're going to catch some of the Methodz plays as well, because
I mean, he kicked off straight away, didn't he?
He barely died. He died already. He's 4, by the way, he's 4-3 here at this point. He only died 4 more times this entire match. That's
bizarre. I didn't realize it was that. I mean, not that bad. I mean, 4-3 is fine. But the fact that he only dies 4 more times, and by the way, that's within another 6 hills?
Yeah, doesn't die.
That's absolutely berserk. That's crazy.
That's playing your life to the extreme. Obviously, the streaks definitely helped out Boston Breach as well.
Yeah, 100%. They absolutely did help them out, especially towards those rotations towards P3 on that last rotation of hills. But I mean, a lot of people do criticize him for his lack of engagements, but you can't complain this time around. Yeah, okay, he only died this 7 times, but he also got 27 kills, so it's absolutely fine. And then that's that kind of game where that AL is going to step up. That's the kind of level that you need to see a touch drop for this Minnesota Røkkr team. I'm not going to wholly blame it on him, but very, very good game out of the breach, and that's how you do it. Fantastic work on Berlin. They'll be very happy with that one. They would have went into this game knowing that hard points are going to be hotly contested, but that is such a good way to start your series in what should be a long and grueling one. Bakaj Search and Destroy coming up next, then Tuscan's Control coming up third, and then of course we will stay on Tuscan for maps number 4 and 5 if we do need them. But with the way that breach played that map number 1, I'm not sure if we will.
Hey, it's S&D, it's a reset. Anything can happen, right? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of insane. But you are right, Boston Breach started off on such a heater. Obviously, Capsidal pretty much doing what we expected him to do. Yeah. And the sleeper of it was going to be Methodz. Any for the Winnie is certainly the name of the day, because and this is the thing, I was going to talk a little bit about engagements, right? There has actually been a criticism leveled at Methodz before, but if you're just not dying, it doesn't really matter. That kind of scoreline is outrageous for an AR just to keep doing. And you saw, you know, exactly what he was doing. He would get a player repositioned. He was picking his positional play very, very well.
Really, really good game out of Methodz. But moving into Search and Destroy, this is where Røkkr will be looking at and thinking to themselves, yeah, let's get it going. Can we do something here on Bakaj? Looking at the top performers, Capsidal 1.23, and he is literally like in the same mold as somebody like Afro. If you're gonna push into grandmas in the kitchen, etc., all over towards that A-bomb site for you guys at home, he's gonna be the guy that's in there thinking, right, come on then, come at me, bro, it's fine. He's the guy that thrives in that kind of atmosphere. But Standy, also a player who we know can do the business when it comes down to Bakaj. 1.39 out of Standy and Search and Destroy is quite sensational. He's going to need to kind of bring that sort of level to the table here for the Minnesota Røkkr if they want to try and come back in this series.
Yeah, they're going to need every ounce of skill they have here. And if you are Minnesota Røkkr, we talked a little bit on the pre-game about how they're feeling on camera and how the vibes are a little bit more subdued at this time around. And hopefully, based on the statistics, they can regain here as well. First in offensive win, second in defensive win, and first in first blood percentages, all leaning for Minnesota on this one. So can they do it? By the way, there are the stats for Methodz of 3.57. That's kind of insane.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's right,
well played. Very, very well played from Methodz. Especially like considering, you know, the way that Vanguard plays and how fast and frantic and chaotic it is. That's tippable, very tippable. But here we go, heading into Bakaj. Currently, it is actually a 2-0 record for Minnesota on this map, whereas, of course, on the side of Boston Breach, only a 1-1. So Minnesota's perfect record is on the line.
Let's see, both teams are ready. Capsidal opening up onto attach. Priestahh near that door opens, and Priestahh has a grenade in his hand, but isn't going to get caught because of it. And I don't know if he meant to flick that stun there, but that was great.
Kind of put that player off and forced him away, but there's another kill going to come on through. Methodz continues his reign of terror as Nero will find the kill on Priestahh. It's now 1 versus 4 for Standy, not in the best of positions. Will find Methodz for his 8th death of the series.
Standy, though, the dream is always alive. 1 versus 4, now 1 versus 3. Has to find a player, though. Time will get you. And he's looking every single angle he can. Finds TJ. Down to a 1 versus 2. Time might get him here as well. He's been found at the same time. Just go for the challenge. Massive challenge on the Nero. And the post will stop him from doing anything further into that one. It was always going to be a dream. They tried to make it a reality. But still, all good for Boston.
Yeah, that'll do for Boston. You find the opening 2 picks on Bakaj, and usually a bomb down and, well, trades usually mean the round is done. Very well played. Breach will take that. We didn't see the opening kill, but I do expect them to get very mixy over towards Grandma's in that A-bomb site. Just release Capsidal. Let the dog off the leash and just let him go. But Røkkr, they have those players, maybe not on the same level of absolutely cracked, but let's see if they can get it done inside of Grandma's as well over towards a Capsidal, just lingering up top kitchen. It's a sneaky little angle. Not sure who was building these buildings in, well, whenever the hell this was, but keep an eye on those little bits of segments around the side of windowsills because that's a draft coming through there, boys.
Well, Standy does manage to take down Methodz. That bomb is going down. Not an awful lot of pressure here, though. There is a fight going on. That's TJ. And he will take down Standy. Now both teams looking for this as we go into a 3 versus 3. It's a big kill from Nero, though. He come through just to get the hit marker as well. No, I don't think he did. He didn't actually get it onto him, but he goes for the challenge. He's going to go down. And now attach. Attach in 1 versus 3. Finds the first one. But that bomb is not being defused. He's got a nade in his hand, and he is going to go down because of it. Boston will get that second round on the board. A little bit scrappy towards the end.
Yeah, very, very scrappy. Tatch unfortunately gets left alone. And I think for your Priestahh, you're trying to break out of the wall. We've all been there, rank play. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you ain't running quick enough. And Priestahh in that scenario, a little bit too slow to get out. That's a tough one because if you can get out, survive. There's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes, but nonetheless, it sometimes becomes doable if you can just survive. In that scenario, you know, when the bomb's down, you don't really have that many teammates around you. It's hard to get yourself out. But on we go. Boston Breach 2 to the good now.
Oh, for some reason, Codcaster made me think Nero was right in front of him then, but he wasn't. Standy, though, holding the fort with his team. Pressure now coming in. Nero actually looking to open a few doors, make a little bit of noise. See if we can't pull a little bit of Røkkr attention. Priestahh trying to cover every single angle. Eventually sees him, knows where TJ is, knows where Nero is. It's been called out to his team, but still neither team ready to commit. Here they go.
I was about to say that's good for Breach, though. They get a little bit of utility out of the Minnesota Røkkr, and now the push can come on through, and TJ is on Overwatch and has done a splendid job at that. Nero is going to soak up that grenade, but it's still a 2 versus 4. It's an ace on the cards for TJHaly as the shots come on through. Fantastic work with the AR from TJ. Really nice angle all the way through. They open up the doors, give him the opportunity, and he finds 3.
Well, I was going to say, Capsidal stole this kill of TJHaly for the ace. Should have just let him have it, really. But, you know, that was kind of ridiculous. You know, TJ obviously got that first kill against Attach. It was huge to begin with. It might have been the second kill. But whoever challenged second there knew where TJ was and still decided to run towards the bomb in that direction.
Had to get rid of him, I think. You know, in that scenario.
Well, that's the thing, like, even if you thought he had moved, like, you just sprinting down the corridor where he clearly just killed a teammate.
Oh, I love that. TJ's feeling it. Trade's going to come on through, and well played from Priestahh. Absolutely eviscerates Nero and gets traded out by Methodz. It's a 2v2.
That has slowed them down a little bit. They were feeling good here, Minnesota, for this round at least. And now Capsidal going for a flank himself. They've let him loose. Methodz deciding to back him up. And now
MajorManiak. MajorManiak's in a really good spot, but he can't really do much from there. But Methodz gets caught out. Is Capsidal going to challenge this surely to trade?
Patience. Huge amounts of patience from Capsidal. They don't know where he is. He's expecting a challenge.
There you go. There's the sound cue. He knows the bomb's going to be picked up. And he hears the little bit of movement over towards it. There's the shots from MajorManiak.
And they're wondering where he is. They might think he's backed off. MajorManiak is calling this. And they are like shipped to the night. They keep missing each other by the smallest of margins, Ton.
Capsidal heading towards the back nodes. That MajorManiak is in and around this area. That auto in hand. This power position. Need to get rid of him. But Attach is backed right on up as well. The shots are in, and there's the round for Røkkr. Very, very well played, to be honest with you. The comms must have been there for MajorManiak. He knows exactly to a point where Capsidal is and just plays his life. Doesn't give Cap that opportunity to find that kill. They both play very passively once that bomb's down. Very good work by the Minnesota Røkkr. And they needed that round because they were bleeding big time.
Big regain from Røkkr. Yeah, they had a little bit of fighting. You got to say, you know, a lot of that's to do with Priestahh. The fact he somehow managed to find a 2-piece there is quite frankly outrageous at the beginning of the round. But looking fast and furious as both teams go head-to-head. They haven't expected it. Attach has just had a 2-piece from the still sprinting Boston Breach. Standy's already deep into the spawn. TJHaly is not expecting this chow from behind him already. And Methodz is going to find him. Brings it back to a 1 versus 2. This could be a 1v3 for him. He knows where the players are. Worried, though. He knows where one player is.
Gotta get the bomb as well. This is a difficult one. But the thing is that he has on his side is time. A full minute to make this work. I suppose that's the only silver lining you have when your team get wiped out in about 0.1 seconds at the beginning of the round. And Methodz has time. And we know he will take that time.
Here's the thing. Right now in this 1 versus 2, he wants a kill and he wants it clean. He's trying to figure out how to get that.
They're going to fly on him as soon as he picks this bomb up. But does he know that that's going to happen? The grenade is in. That tags both of them, by the way. And just gets the hell out. Are they going to read this right, though? The Røkkr, this bomb's down. He's got a good chance here, Bryce.
He has. He's backing all the way through. Might even go for a lap here. They're coming for him. Look at this. It's going to come to a head here at the same point. They haven't picked correctly. Methodz is away. Can he find him? This is unbelievable. They have no idea where he's gone.
He doesn't know where they are either.
He's attached. He's attached. 1v3. Priestahh, no! Shuts it down. Says, no, not today. And the little bit of a wobble, the little bit of a lip, the ledge, it stops him from getting it. And Røkkr will get that round, but it is not clean or comfortable.
They are great shots from Priestahh, by the way, to win that gunfight. Yes, you know where he is. But to adjust to that height as well, considering where he is. Most of your gunfights in Call of Duty are typically very horizontal to throw your aim up that quickly. Here we go. There's the shots on to attach, and Priestahh charles it. Oh, I tell you what, he takes a lot of bullets. He takes a lot of bullets. Oh,
was it the barrel that deflected one?
They kind of deflect some of them because that is look, you die fast in Vanguard. There is no two ways about it. And yeah, if I'm Zinni, I'm a bit like, I ain't gonna try and do my Zinni impression. It's not very good.
Well, this round hasn't had any kills yet. A little bit of fire exchange from the teams. They try to figure this one out. Nero making a play, by the way. Going towards it, and Methodz will get first blood.
Important for Breach to stop their bleeding here, as that's 2 in a row for the Røkkr. Make that a 3 versus 3, though. This cap is going to be found out by attach. Look at this all the way around from TJHaly. Is something going to get going here? But Nero and Methodz combined well all of a sudden. Priestahh left all alone. There's one. He's going to be able to get out here as well, but surely he's going to be challenged. And yes, he is. Breach find another round. 4-2 now.
And Boston are probably still a little bit sick that Methodz didn't get it. It would have been 5-1. I'm still kind of aghast by myself. I'm sure we'll get some more slow-mos on that kill as well, because that was kind of crazy how close he was to the 1v3. But at the moment, Boston Breach still riding high, still making the plays. And we're talking so much about Methodz. I think TJ's been such an influential player as well in this search.
MajorManiak sitting at 0 and 5 right now. Needs to step it up for all his team. Going to be head over towards it. High aggressive line from Røkkr, though. They got somebody over towards the gates. That is going to be MajorManiak. He's going to open up his account, but not before it is shut down immediately. Standy will trade that one out. Can he find a second as well? Well played from Standy. TJ now left in a 1 versus 3 attach. He's going to give him a possible route into this. Well, Standy finds his third. Well played by the Røkkr, and ultimately that just comes down to that opening break. Trades come on through. When you're the one to find that first blood, the trades are always going to be in your favor if you could go back and forth. And Standy doesn't even let the fourth come back towards him as he finds 3 in a row. Really good stuff from him.
Yeah, and once I saw he was stunned, I think the entire team just put feet to pavement, because you can see them fly at him as well. And sometimes not with the best way. If you got that second kill from Standy and got out, it could have been a very different story. But still close on this search. Still an awful lot to do as we go into the attack with Minnesota this time. They are making a heavy push towards A. This is an awful lot of pressure coming in.
Oh, are they ready for it? Cap on the note, though, doesn't want to be in that situation there, but ready and waiting. Shots coming in from the other side, though. TJ gets aggressive. There's 2 easy kills. Attach will answer back with one of his own. It's a 3v2.
Oh, and Attach looking for this player. He knows he's here. He's going to find him as well. Sorry, it's been Nero. Taken down by MajorManiak. Down to a 2 versus 2 after TJ got the first 2. Attach figuring this one out. He's looking for Methodz as well. It's
yes,
a pistol fight.
Oh, my word.
And now Capsidal. He's coming under an awful lot of pressure. Finds one with it. Almost gets turned on himself. Now has to get out of it. Looking for the trade. It's ring around the rosy. They are still going for it. Look at him. He's not stopped sprinting. And MajorManiak's like, where did he go?
Gets away. But the thing is there, he would have known that would have been the bomb carrier. He's going into the A site at that time in a 2v1. Put 2 and 2 together. As the bomb pickup, he knows exactly where it was. MajorManiak, though, will know that he knows where he is. 1v1 still. Capsidal looking for it.
Capsidal just full on sprinting around and he didn't go for the defuse. He's run. He's running. He's seen Capsidal. Capsidal says, hey, I see you out there on fence. And if you're on fence, you're not planning. Goodbye.
That's the risk you take. If you jump off the bomb in that scenario, it's a 50-50 for MajorManiak because, I mean, it's Capsidal. He's flying. Are you right? No, apparently
honestly, not. That round, I'm starting to feel like Capsidal had 20% extra speed on. Just moving.
Well, here we go. The Boston Breach, 1 round away from going 2-0 up in this series. And they've been good money for it, has to be said. Attached, though. What can he do here? 8 and 7. Had a good game so far. Needs to keep it up, try and get his team back into this one.
Standy breaking walls. TJ's going to get first blood again. Over and over again. He's been instrumental in Boston Breach's success in this S&D. And attached, opening and closing a window. He's looking for somebody as well. Capsidal ready to fly with an MP40. Eventually, he will get it back to a 3 versus 3.
It's a really nice pick from Priestahh. Especially considering the good shots that were put in by TJ to kick things off. But Boston Breach, look at them getting aggressive.
Sandy finds the first. I was going to say, I was about to see. Is he going to ego chat out of there and go for it? Has decided a little bit more discretion. Nero's going to hit this. What a beings.
Ready. Surely they're ready.
Yeah, they are. They have every angle there covered. Methodz for a 1 versus 3. This one's a lot harder than his last one, actually, because he doesn't have bomb. And he doesn't really have an opportunity for them to kind of chase him down.
Yeah, we need to get a kill, plant the bomb to make this possible. Tatch is going to throw the shoulder, and I'd imagine Priestahh. Well, no, they're not even going to challenge it. They're not going to give him too much info. 10 seconds to go. This is a round over to the Røkkr. Methodz, very little that can be done here, and Minnesota Røkkr will not give him an inch. Well, Standy will give him another kill. It matters not. A round for Røkkr. Very close search and destroy.
And it's coming down to it. It's still very much anyone's S&D. After that first blood by TJ, I thought they might have it, but it looks like he was going for the tank again, trying to get that set up for that plant. And Priestahh picked him off, and from there, they kind of collapsed. Boston Breach still 1 round away from winning this, but the attack is on Minnesota Røkkr. Where do they go? Maybe another big A hit for them. It's huge. It's fast this time.
This is going to hurt. There's the second one. Bye-bye. Yeah, fantastically well worked from the Breach. And it's like, well, yeah, if you're going to put yourself in that corner, then great, good luck. Now it's a 2 versus 3. His attach will find one. As will MajorManiak. 2v2. Making a 1 versus 3. What on earth? Methodz in a 1v1.
How on earth does this happen? A 2 versus 4 potentially going down. It's all on MajorManiak now, though. And Methodz has to defuse as well. Is Methodz just going to wait this out?
He's waiting for
Methodz
the
making a move
through. He's jumping on it. Surely he knows MajorManiak. He has to check it. He does check it. There's just not enough time.
Unbelievable 2v4 there from Minnesota.
That is crazy.
That bomb going down. The Nazis didn't come in quite quick enough. And being bombed down, they've managed to get it all the way back to this point. It's 5-5. If you're Boston Breach, you thought they were in control for the majority of this S&D. And Minnesota have not buckled.
Minnesota have just chipped away. They've just hung on, and a few rounds have come down to 1v1. With quite a lot of rounds have come down to 1v1s, but the majority of the time it's been the Røkkr that have been winning them. And that is why we have a round number 11. Can Breach close it out, or can Røkkr complete the 3-round sweep to bring it back? They were 5-3 down.
And if you're Boston here, you're a little bit tense, knowing that you felt like you had this one in the bag.
Just looking for a pick, both teams here.
That's a stun. They're going to know he's here.
He'll get out.
Still, Minnesota playing a little bit coy. a little bit shy. 53
Very tentative
seconds.
round.
Yeah, on the clock, and they don't want to make. They want to get first blooded. TJ looking again, trying to figure out exactly where the other two teams are distributed here. There's a huge stack coming in for them as well. Comes around and TJ almost gets taken down, stunned. Run! Methodz though gets that first blood already. Minnesota Røkkr have to try and answer back. They did not get the trade. They are slowly but surely running out of time as well. Their options are dwindling fast here in this Search and Destroy. They've held on.
Spot.
Capsidal gets another one as well, and now they have to go huge. It's a 2 versus 4. Attach manages to find one. Capsidal again, but MajorManiak has to go straight for this plant. It'll be a 1 versus 3 if he makes it.
Surely he can't get out. Surely can't get out. And there is Methodz ready and waiting. And Boston Breach will find a second map. That was just so Bacage, but not for the first 45 seconds. It was just like, yeah, we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna wait, and then bang, it explodes into life once more. And it's Boston Breach that come out on top. When there is a will, there is a way, and they eventually get it done. Røkkr clutched up as best as they possibly could, but they were never in a favorable situation throughout that whole Search and Destroy. It never felt like the rounds were on their side. Always just had to clutch up. Having the clutch factor is fantastic, but the point is that if you're in that situation time and time again, there's something going wrong. Boston Breach overall the better team in that game, and probably deservedly, I would say, walk away with a 6-5 victory.
And even then, it was just so tight all the way through. Attach obviously stepped it up 12-9 for them in the end, but TJHaly had so many first bloods. Look at that 4. Look at the amount of first bloods they had. That probably shouldn't have been as close as it actually was in the end. But yeah, that last round, it's a tactic that we've seen about 1 million times, right? Minnesota essentially they go for the very slow play, the split and pick play. You're looking for information. You're burning time to try and grab those other players. You're trying to find out where Breach are so you can enact on them and get that done. The issue with it is if you don't find it kill early or you get first blooded, you run out of time. It limits your options massively. And eventually they just couldn't do anything. Capsidal made another big play. As soon as he got that second kill down, Minnesota Røkkr were just in dire straits. Attach tried to make something happen. Capsidal got him as well. You just burn an awful lot of time. Don't get me wrong, it's still a very good tactic. It works quite often. You'll see teams slow right down looking for those picks. But when it goes badly wrong, it's usually time that is the factor.
Yeah, you start running out of time, you start panicking just that little bit. You can see they were in a tough spot and they kind of had to go for the bomb plant. I think MajorManiak in that situation, if he's got a little bit more time in that 1 versus 2, then you suddenly become, you know, it's a little bit more doable. But the 15 seconds left on the clock, you've got to plant the bomb. Nightmare situation. But look, yeah, Røkkr clutched up a couple of times, but it's just a shame that they were in that situation every time and then switched on. But if you're the Boston Breach, you also have to not let some of them rounds leak away there. So yeah, a couple of question marks around the Search and Destroy for both teams, but it's Breach who take it away.
It certainly is. Well, speaking of taking it away, we are going to go away for just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. When we come back here on the CDL, map number 3, Boston Breach and Minnesota Røkkr.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Zenni. Armor your eyes with Block's gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenni.com/CDL.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CDL. This is our Game Fuel Tactical Play. As you can see, it's going to be Capsidal playing his life, Speed Demon, and managing to get the 1 versus 2. Just so good gameplay coming out of Boston Breach at the moment, and much better than my English, of course.
Just so good, bro. So good.
So good.
No, it was really well played by Capsidal. That first kill is huge. Knows where the bomb is and just plays the information. Very, very well played. I'd imagine it would have been Zinni's 1v3 had he made it, but not quite able to get there in time. Look, a very, very good game though out at the Boston Breach. Very well. I was going to say well composed search and destroy. I think probably composed was the opposite of what it was. There's a couple of glitches that just come through from Røkkr that just make it close, but for the most part, it feels like Breach are in control of this series. However, Control, not so good, to be honest. 1 and 3 here, and just overall bad. But the Røkkr overall 2 and 4 as it goes on this game mode, so not necessarily the best for either two of these teams, but a 2.57 out of Methodz. If you can keep that up, well, this is a 3-0.
He's died less this series than I would do in the first hard point, but oh my goodness, he's having a good thing. Obviously, the 3.57 map number 1 certainly doesn't hurt things. I think he died the same amount of time in the S&D as he did the entire hard point, which tells you how great of a hard point he actually had. But going into this one, of course, Minnesota Røkkr. Is this the start of a reverse sweep? That is the question for all Minnesota fans out there. Unfortunately, Breach look like the better team.
They do. Just overall at this moment in time, and a lot of people had these thoughts heading into this series, and well, they kind of come to fruition, but can the Røkkr turn around here? And map number 3. Boston Breach, though, can they turn around their misfortune to Control? Well, if it's not just shooting like that, then maybe not.
Oh, at the moment they are looking maybe to make a push towards B here at this point, but not with Methodz and Capsidal shutting them down. Gotta keep an eye on Standy, though. All he wants here is a couple of kills. A little bit of a distraction, maybe, to let his team get A confidently with the kills. Unfortunately, will go down. They managed to get picked off. That's Methodz who found him. That was probably the communication saying something along the lines of, we haven't seen him in a while. Where is he hiding?
It's looking like A should be locked in. You got Priestahh towards back church as well. So quite a push from Boston Breach to stop this from happening. 50 seconds left to go. That timer obviously stopped as things get moving over towards A. Looks like Boston have completely given this one up. The lives are pretty similar and they have plenty of control, but look at the one that slipped the net once more. Priestahh still back here. Waiting for the opportunity, the perfect moment to allow his team to get through. Unfortunately, they're all dying over and over again. Yeah.
TJ eventually going to be taken down by him. That's going to announce exactly where he is. As they come off respawn, they'll be looking to play around this now. What it does do is give a bit of a distraction. Although I say that, there's still Minnesota are failing to get kills.
Yeah, Priestah's dead as well, so that's ultimately the game plan. Done and dusted for the Røkkr here on the attack at the moment. Still trying to find a way through, but I think Boston Breach is just playing this really well. They're playing awkward on the map. They're getting aggressive when you maybe would expect it. I mean, why would there be 3 of them in church, but why would there be 3 Minnesota Røkkr around the outside as well? Boston Breach just really reading this well, whether it be through luck or not. Just setting themselves up, sitting themselves a little bit deep now. It's going to maybe invite a little bit of pressure on from the Røkkr, but it's a 7 life difference.
Oh my goodness, TJ trying to get that swing in, not being able to do it. And you are correct. With this difference coming in, I wonder if Boston Breach continue to push this tempo. Eventually getting a couple of kills. Maybe one last big push into it, and they'll be trying to get this without losing too much here as well. TJ managed to get the thing come back again, and TJ just over and over again is having a fantastic game. And we spoke about Boston Breach before this, and how good can they be? Well, TJ just farming the Røkkr at the moment. They are really struggling to get forward. However, they're going to go for one last roll of the dice. Priestahh jumps in, and Methodz takes him down as well, and that may be everything here. Minnesota should probably just be looking for kills.
Yeah, I would probably chalk it up here if I'm the Røkkr. Probably wouldn't go a step further, but Capsidal says, yeah, okay, you want to chill? No, thank you. Runs forward, looking for those kills. That's going to be an 8 life difference if nothing changes. Make that a 7 as Cap maybe steps a little bit too far So bear that in mind as we do advance on. So 7-kill advantage there for the Boston Breach. And yeah, TJ does a really good job towards the back there. When those first 2 kills come flying on through, you can see everybody from Røkkr is head down first, get inside the hill, get moving, get a little bit of purchase in and around the site. TJ finds very 2 big kills that come on through. Once again, the English is just sensational from both of us, but nonetheless, big kills coming in from TJ. Moving on here now, can they find an attack? That's something they've really struggled to do so far throughout the whole of the CDL this year so far, Bryce, and I don't know if we'll start off here. I feel around number 5's on the cards.
At the moment, Standy about to run into 2 of the team. Gonna go for it, doesn't even need to get the trade here. Nero just punches straight through and already getting that time back under it. TJ gets a kill as well. At the moment, they're actually capturing both sites. I think Nero will try and play his life here. I'm lying. He's going to go for a massive wide chow. And eventually does get one. However, you can see all of Røkkr have been pulled over that side of the map. Boston Breach should now probably be able to get A very, very comfortably. I don't even think Boston Breach really want to push this. Oh my goodness, TJ is just on fire. He hasn't missed.
Dude's beaming. Very, very difficult to do much when some members of the Boston Breach are in this kind of mood. For the Røkkr, they just haven't been able to match the intensity, match the slaying for the most part. They're gonna need to here though as they defend, but TJ just keeps on rolling. For all that Methodz had the game of his life in map number 1, TJ is just killing absolutely everybody on the map right now. Capsidal in a good position. He knows exactly where they are too. Shot's gonna come in here from Priestahh though, who just slips the net, gets himself through. TJHaly still surviving. My goodness, 17-6 to kick off the control. Methodz is towards the back, but that attack for now has been nullified by the Røkkr. Or has it?
Methodz doing some serious work here, and even with all of this, even with how good Boston Breach are playing right now, it's still difficult to get onto this B site. You have to make successive waves of kills and then try and dodge the nade storm that's coming in. Still feeling pretty confident though.
But look what's happened here though for the Røkkr. Because of all those kills that have come on through, because of that nearly push, they haven't had that chance to extend out. They're all at the back. If you breach, you just have to push through one direction. But do they know that? They will still be presuming that they're going to get flanked, right?
Yeah, well, this is the part of the trying to figure out where everything is. You can already see.
Exactly.
Methodz will probably throw a shoulder here, looking for MajorManiak at tank. And when he does, the rest of his team will come in because he's going to try and give him a little bit of distraction. He actually go late. Here he is. He's going to go late. He knows that his team is pinching. He's gone for it at the same time. That is tactics. That is gameplay, and that is chemistry. Incredible break here from Boston Breach.
4 dead. There you go. They're all spawning over towards the back church. And do they have the right positioning coming on through? Minnesota Røkkr have been so stagnant in this control, and it's been stacked by the breach. They're still getting plenty of time. Røkkr trying to fight back.
Nades have already come through. That's why they've jumped onto it. They know that next nade might come in, might be their last, but they're already got bodies on side. They have to contest as well. Oh no, Methodz gets the team killed to Nero. And look at the players fly around here, and somehow by the narrowest of margins, Røkkr hold that off.
Oh, without Zinni, we winning in that situation. Oh, no. You shot Methodz right in the back of the head. Look, I mean, the damage is maybe already done. It's a 7-kill difference. 2 ticks on the point. MajorManiak with the shots on to TJ. Nero trying to jump on the point, and if you're breach here, just do not get too frantic, is all I would say. You still have time to try and pick your way through. They get rid of the player that's on the flank here as well. So it's an 8v15 for now, but time is not on breach's side.
It certainly isn't. Let's see if they can get another pinch going through. Looking for it, MajorManiak's got one. TJ's going to be there. He's trying to get that fight. Not going to be able to. However, Methodz comes flying in round the corner, and MajorManiak runs out of bullets, essentially, and Capsidal goes down as well. 17 seconds left to go. And with only 1 tick on this, they may roll the dice. No, they're not going to get there.
Yeah, they're not going to get there in time. That is... Around that breach probably should have won. I mean, I'm not going to put it down directly to that team kill that comes on through, but I mean...
It's disappointing. It happens, but it's not a massive mistake. He was obviously going for the gunfight. What I do want to highlight, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Methodz and the rest of the Boston Breach. That break, by the way, executed so well. Methodz held until he knew he can get a pinch in, and it was all about timing for him. He knew he had to wait until his team punched through. If they failed on that push, he would have stayed there and tried to get up another kill towards back, or just play a little bit of a foil so his team could get back in with map control. What actually happened is they punched straight through platform, and Methodz hit the back, and it was ridiculous. We're going to see a replay of that, exactly how close it was as well. See here, obviously, I think it's... Who is that on the point? Methodz and Nero. And Nero takes one to the back of the skull.
Standy.
And so close between those two, obviously. But if you are Boston Breach, silver lining being quite a decent distance ahead in kills at the moment.
Yeah, they'll be feeling good if that map, round number 5, sorry, does come on through. So far, so good here, though, for the Breach, to be honest, in this defense. Only Standy left in any sort of position to try and grab a hold of it. Still causing havoc, though, and can't quite find the kill at the Methodz. A couple of headshots, not quite enough in that scenario. But for the Breach, yeah, look at them. They're just creating that chaos. Just got players running through many of the lanes that Tuscan does have. I just find the little routes from behind and just making things very, very difficult for the Røkkr so far.
Oh, Nero trying to get out of it. Somehow managed to stay alive. Will we eventually call? No, surely not.
Excuse me?
They just let him through. He didn't react
Where's
to
the
it.
comms?
Capsidal, though, going to try and deflect some of this pressure coming through. Another big slide shall come through, and it's TJ once again to the rescue. They will eventually clear their lines. At the moment, Minnesota haven't got anything going through. The Capsidal's going to get taken down. That player is in the corner. And I think Minnesota will probably just go away now and get that extra minute.
You would think so. Bleeding lives, bleeding time here at the moment. Boston Breach very much in the driving seat. At this moment in time, Attach is expecting that push, and TJ will get shut down, but what a monumental map he's had so far. 27 and 16.
Oh, Methodz really wanted to get that first kill, although he's in it. TJ comes in for the pinch, and they've stopped them. They have stopped them. 25 seconds left to go. It's all going to be Minnesota Røkkr now if they want to make a play out of this.
Priestahh over towards B, maybe the one to do it. Not going to happen. Nero will shut him down. Will immediately get shut down by himself, though. As MajorManiak now will push up as A should get locked in. That should be another minute on the clock, and there it is. Røkkr do have another stab at it, but look at the lives. Very, very low. You've got 1, maybe 2 pushes in this.
Well, into church here. I know they want this attack desperately. I know they're behind on lives as well by quite a decent margin. Nero about to come under pressure. The slide cancel the bait as well. Standy manages to get it. Methodz ready for this player to jump across. Standy gives him the shoulder. That shoulder is cold with ice as he is going to get taken down. Eventually, though, they have managed to trade pretty effectively, and Capsidal will clean it up.
Oh, well, there's still one player towards the back, though. You could do with getting rid of him because he will just be a pain. Or did they just leave him and say, right, yeah, you do your bro. That's fine. No, look at the 3 of them concentrating on Attach. There you go. And get rid of him, though. TJ, 32 and 17. This has been a magisterial performance on Tuscan from him. Is he going to keep it going? Not quite. MajorManiak will find the kill, but with 3 lives remaining, it's just not doable for Minnesota Røkkr. Breach will get within 1 point of the 3-0 win here.
Well, tell you something. Minnesota are going to have one incredible defense to come back from this deficit.
Oh, yeah.
Just not sure it's going to be that possible. We've managed to get even further behind here. And if you're Boston Breach, the options are available for you. If you don't need to overcommit and lose a ton of lives, you'll get another defense. Obviously, you want to win in every single round, and they've done a pretty good job so far, but it is looking like theirs to lose now.
It's kind of felt like that all the way through, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely just felt like it's Boston's series. I don't know. I just Minnesota. They've got to puzzle to kind of solve with the team at the moment because it's just not working out. I mean, TJ can be fully stunned. He's finding heads like this. And when you're going up against a team like Breach, these are games that they should be going into, and that should be relatively close. These should be good series, but if you're getting blown away like this, which is kind of... It's been comfortable for Breach so far.
That was Nero alive.
I had no idea. Honestly, the majority of the Boston Breach have just been playing so well on the slaying front. It's looking so good for them right now, Bryce.
MajorManiak actually gets seen there while he's sitting top comms. There's already a bit of time going down on the B. Minnesota will stack this ready. Nate's flying as well, but Methodz is continuing to rain fire down into this kill feed. Trying to get out of it now. Gonna jump onto the time for a little bit.
I mean, they've got a good setup here. Has anybody got radio control though? That's the question. You surely have to lock that down. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely nobody from behind, watching from behind though. Surely that's got to be the push that comes through from the Røkkr. It's going to be Standy finds 2. Complete bricks the push down. Still 2 players alive here from Breach.
They might get this tick. It's going to be attached. He's going to have to make a big play there. He's managed to get the both of them, and they have stopped it before they get that B cap. It happened last time to Boston Breach. It's happened again. within touching distance of it, and attacks flies through. 3 kills for him there. And that could be the difference on this attack round. That's all it might be, is that one play out of attach, stopping Boston getting B.
Oh my word, Standy, how's he even had time to switch to the pistol?
It's always faster than reloading.
Oh yeah, well it is. Oh, 4 dead there as well momentarily. Capsidal moving forward. You just have to be careful here. They had hell of an advantage and still only need that one tick over towards B. But because of how it kind of went down, they've been forced back a little bit of a staggered push over towards A, just making things that little bit more difficult. So if you're the breach, you take your time here, although can you? 20 seconds to go.
Methodz is going to go down already. There's another big play coming out of this one. It's MajorManiak who takes him. And realistically, as we're off to the races, Capsidal's going to have to just jump this point to stop it. Standy's on a 5. Who's close?
You know what, he's done enough work here. He's done enough work just to put a stop on the timer so the rest of the team can make the push over towards A. Makes Breach's lives that little bit easier. That time is surely going to extend now. You can see Røkkr have backed on down. It's going to go up to 1 minute and 9 seconds or so. But the lives are what are going to be influential here. 10 on the side of Røkkr, 11 on the side of Breach.
Now, with that little bit of life, that 1 minute gifted to them by capping A eventually, going to be looking for a break. And bearing in mind, it's 1 tick onto B here. The Røkkr must not bend. They must not allow them to get any significant presence towards this site. They've already lost a player here, Boston.
They may well just wait.
I think they are.
Because they don't really have time to all die and then all get back up again. So they wait on TJ, finding his way back around, but Cap still trying to break his way through the back. It's traded kills, which kind of just works out for the breach. They only still need 1 little tick on towards it. The kill's gonna start coming in. Priestahh will find a huge one though. TJ left all alone, 20 seconds to go.
TJ looking for attach. He's been influential so far. On the cusp of dropping a 40 already in this series. Methodz gets him. Methodz tries to look for the second one as well. That's huge for him. I think he's going to be flanked here, unfortunately. He's going to go down. He's going to jump into the time. It's Nero. Nero's managed to get it.
That's big.
He's pausing it for him. It's a 4 versus 4. Here come Boston, streaming across the map desperately.
Where's the nades?
Oh, Capsidal with the flank.
Cap from behind.
Capsidal. It's going to go down. It's still 1 versus 3, and somehow Boston win the attack. Dominate all the way through. And they will take this one 3-0. And we were expecting a closer game than that, Ton.
We really were, but it was Boston in control all the way through. It's just a very comfortable game from their point of view. Their control has really not been their strong point, but they look the better team there across the board. Great game out of the Boston Breach, a 3-0 at that as well. Very good performance. They'd be happy with that for the Røkkr. It's back to the drawing board once again.
TJHaly, by the way.
Good lord.
40 and 26. The difference maker over and over again. 30 non-traded kills. Outrageous. Outrageous. It's an unbelievable scoreline.
And it's completely opposite to what I thought was going to be the influential moments for the Boston Breach. I honestly thought that it was going to come down to the SMGs. But the AR's dominant for the Boston Breach. You see Methodz. I'd be very interested in all Methodz' overall KD in this match, because at 22 and 16 on top of what 13 deaths over the previous 2 maps that he had.
He's only died 30.
Crazy.
He's died 30 times total in 3 maps.
It's a minimum of 2 KD. You would like to think, but what a game out of Methodz. Well, put it this way: he was heading into map number 3 with a 2.57. And he's just put up a very decent game there as well. So he'll be feeling good about that overall 2 KD over the series. Fantastic performance from him. But overall, just from the whole of the Boston Breach there. Just very, very good at getting mixed. Getting into the slaying side of things when it does come down to control. They kind of just played into their hand a little bit. I mean, they outslayed on every single map to a certain degree, of course. And if you're a Minnesota Røkkr, you kind of have to slow things down and just, you know, dig the trenches, hold on as best as you can. But a really, really good performance out of the side of Boston Breach. But I hate to say it, It's a 1.93 from Methodz. I was so sure he had the 2.
Oh, we're gutted not to get the 2 after such a performance.
Yeah, that 1.93, shoddy.
Not even worth talking about, really. Coming into this, though, I will say there are some positives here for Boston. Not an awful lot for Minnesota, unfortunately. I mean, we thought they were the slight underdogs coming into this one, but apart from the S&D, never really caught too much fire going into this one. But Boston, they play like this against some of the other big teams in the CDL, and we could certainly see them moving up those power rankings very, very quickly.
100%. That's a big win for them. Very, very big win. It's a team who are kind of in and amongst it with you, and that's one that extends your lead away from the Minnesota Røkkr and kind of pushes them up into the territory of Thieves and Co. And that's kind of the next step for a team like Boston Breach. I think I kind of put them in the same category as Florida Mutineers, as two teams who have that ceiling that has not quite been reached yet. We know that they can keep going. They are improving every single week. But how far can they go? Can they mix it in with people like Thieves? And they're kind of the next team that you're going to be looking at. Then you're going to be looking at like teams like London, FaZe, OpTic. These are all the squads that you got to look at if you're the Boston Breach that you want to go on to beat. You want to go on to give good series to. Minnesota Røkkr were a team that they would have expected to go in and have a good game with, but a 3-0 win is a statement.
It certainly is a Boston Breach beating. Let's have a look, though, and see what the Des thinks of that game, because at the moment, Boston look great.
Dude, that was an incredible series. And, you know, I'm looking at the maps here, and Boston beat Røkkr on their best hardpoint and then beat them on a map they were undefeated on, which is Bocage S&D. Like, Boston are looking really good. Now, let's get to the Game Fuel victory spotlight with none other than Methodz. The guy was popping off in that series. What's going on, Zen?
What's going on?
All right, so I got to ask you, what'd you say?
You guys hear me? I'm making sure.
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound absolutely great, Chef Tony. But I got to ask you, Map 1 Berlin, you put on an absolute show for all of us. What was going through your head? Because you went on a 9 streak, a 10 streak.
Game of rank play, dude.
They showed us, and you didn't even get hyped. Like, I'm expecting you to get hyped there. So what was going on in your head there?
No, I'm not feeling very well today. I'm on my Jordan flu game gimmick, so first map, just a clinic. I mean, I heard you say a second ago that was Røkkr's best map, but I don't think anybody really matches us very well in Berlin. That's probably our strongest map, so good win from the boys. What are you laughing at, dude? What am I? Get out of the room, dude.
Okay, well, what I want to talk about actually happens to be Cap. He seems to be, every time we see him, his in-game decision-making just continues to get better as a younger player. And I wanted to know if you and the team on Boston Breach had any part to play in that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say our coaching staff helps the young guns the most. Obviously, me and TJ, we do our part, but Cap and Dill, I think, are easily right there in the running for Rookie of the Year so far. I mean, both have come out pretty electric, especially given that we were a last-minute team and the 12th spot, and everybody sort of expected pretty mediocre, subpar team. I think they've definitely made waves and improving themselves. So proud of them so far. Proud of TJ as well. I think all of us just have a chip on our shoulder and looking to hopefully win some tournaments.
Oh yeah, man, keep that chip because you guys are playing great. I want to ask you a little bit about control. It's been the struggle point for you guys throughout the entire season. And right there, I mean, you guys look phenomenal. Was there a specific thing you guys changed, or what was it? Because TJ was going crazy.
Yeah, TJ was frying. I mean, we've been in the lab trying to figure out control. Obviously, I would say as a new team, especially with two young guns, control is probably the hardest mode to figure out.
Yeah.
Hardpoint and search, I feel like collectively the teamwork aspect is just a little easier than control, and we've been hammering away every single day. So obviously some improvement there. Still a ton of work to do on it. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress thus far.
A quicker series than I think most of us definitely expected. And of course, we're going to leave the floor open for you to talk to the Breach fans at home. I think you only had like 30 deaths across all 3 maps that you guys played. So this is open for you to talk to the fans.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for your support. Stepping on that stage in Dallas was surreal, right? I think, especially as a new team and me taking a little bit of a hiatus, being benched by Marky B, it felt good to walk on that stage and hear you guys. And I see the YouTube chat, we watch it back. I see Twitter. We all appreciate your love and support. So shout out to my parents watching at home.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for talking with us. Congratulations on the win, and good luck going forward through the rest of the
Hope you feel better.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Class act guy right there. Absolute professional on cam. But we got a scuff play of the game from Chef Tony himself. Methodz is his 10 streak on that Berlin. I mean, he was popping off. I remember we looked up at the screen. It was like 9 streak, or looked up at the scoreboard. And I'm like, oh my God, he's actually popping off. And then he had a 10 streak after that later on in the game. Like, the guy was just frying. And he wasn't like, you know, camping, like some people say metal boots for Methodz. No, he was in the mix. Like, this guy was popping off. And that's what you need sometimes, man, with the AR, especially on a map like Berlin. He completely took over, and, you know, he popped off throughout the series.
It was really just prime AR play. It was just disciplined, right? He knew where they were coming from. It was easy reads all around. And like he said, it was like a ranked play game.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about some of the games that we had today. We had London versus Paris to kick things off. And Paris, they were looking pretty good early on in the series. This is back-to-back series where Paris have gotten reverse swept. But before we get into the Paris talk, let's talk about the London Royal Ravens, because this was Gizmo's return after a break, you know, going through some personal stuff. But he came back and he played fantastic, aBeZy.
Absolutely. And even though Nasty was struggling in the respawns, it was the S&D where he really shone. Even though they fell in that first one, he stepped it up for them in Game 5 to complete the reverse sweep. But to attest to Paris, Jimbo isn't as terrible as we all thought. We definitely saw a pretty good performance out of him and what this Paris squad could be capable of, but now it's just about closing these series out. Yeah,
you know, it just kind of, you know, proves it to them, like they needed an aggressive SMG that can win their ones. And today, Jimbo won his ones. It's just, can he be consistent? Because I think we can see some success out of this Paris Legion squad. If Temp and John can continue what they're doing, they were sensational today. But we also had another banger of a series, OpTic versus Seattle. Now, this is one that I expected to be a beatdown, honestly. You know, I looked at that Surge win over FaZe, and I honestly thought it was a little bit of a fluke, and, you know, it wasn't. Surge have figured their stuff out. Civ was going nuts today, and it's just been a massive turnaround for them. Unfortunately, holding an L, but it is to OpTic Texas, who is the best in the world.
And a testament to OpTic Texas, they have been basically undefeated. And Seattle, I've been preaching it since the beginning that the fundamentals for this team is there, the roles for the players and the talent is there. They just need to get it all to come together and hit their stride. Unfortunately, today it was Mack that fell a little bit short, which is happened to be the most consistent player on Seattle Surge for most of us. So hopefully we'll see a bounce back from him. But OpTic, again, just proving why they're the top of the leaderboard right now.
Absolutely. I mean, they lost that first map. They were in the mix. And then Game 2, I mean, that's why he's the king. Scump went crazy, 11-4. Like, they were playing great in Search and Destroy at Major 1. But if Scump can play at that level in Search, they'll be practically unbeatable in that game mode. But let's check out the standings here in Major II Qualifiers. It's been a wild ride so far. Got 2 days left this weekend. I'm excited to see how these games go. But as for OpTic, their schedule, they have LAG, Florida, and Atlanta going forward, so they could possibly win out if they are still the Atlanta FaZe Achilles. But let's check it out. We got London Royal Ravens 3-0, only two matches left for them. Florida Mutineers 2-0 with a 6-0 map count, aBeZy.
But they do have a tough lineup coming up next. Like you just said, I believe they're going to be playing OpTic or Atlanta FaZe here soon in the rest out of our brackets. So a little bit tough schedule ahead for them, but definitely not impossible. Boston Breach, though, sitting up 2-0. But the overall CDL points, it's still going to be Texas OpTic on top with 115 points. London Royal Ravens only 5 behind. Atlanta FaZe, though, sitting at 103rd right now. This is not what I would have expected had you told me this like 2 months ago.
Remember, like, these points are everything. This is seeding. This goes all the way through to champs. And we got some teams on there with 10 points. I'm looking at New York Subliners and Legion to step it up. Legion are winning maps. They're going up 2-0. They're in striking distance. Just got to win that control. And then for New York Subliners, I'm super excited to see Paul X, man. That guy was popping off when he was playing with the London Royal Ravens, so hopefully he can be the life that they need. Now let's check out the schedule for tomorrow, and guess what we're going to see tomorrow? We're going to see New York Subliners versus the Paris Legion. That's our second match. The first match, Atlanta FaZe versus the Royal Ravens. That's second and third place.
That one's going to be a banger to start off the day. Atlanta FaZe versus London Royal Ravens. That's 2 top 3 teams going at it. But of course, the Mountain Dew marquee match is going to be Florida Mutineers versus Texas OpTic. We saw what they were doing capable of today. Going up against Florida Mutineers, I don't think it'll be as close as some might think, but Florida, they are still 2-0.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot tomorrow about these teams. Then to round out today, we have Boston Breach versus Toronto Ultra. Both those teams have been playing good so far, so excited to see that one as well, especially the Search and Destroy battle. But don't forget, we have Major 2 right around the corner. Major 1 was absolutely insane. It was electrifying in the building. The crowd was nuts. And from what I hear right now is we sold quite the amount of tickets. So if you guys want to show up, you better get your tickets now. It's March 31st to April 3rd, Sunday, April 3rd. It's my birthday. I'm excited for that. Better be loud in there. So get your tickets, show up to Minneapolis, and have some fun. But that's it for day number 1 here in week 2. We had some crazy games. Tomorrow, the games will be even better. I can't wait wait to watch these teams go at it. We got 4 games tomorrow. Saturday is the gauntlet day, so strap in. Make sure you're ready for some Call of Duty, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at the same place, same time.